Hello friends, welcome to the latest video in our National Park Mystery Series. Today we're going to be talking about Mount Nyangani, the mountain that swallows people. Now there's a long-held belief by the local Nyanga people that a vindictive spiritual presence resides on Mount Nyangani in Zimbabwe. Local folklore says the mountain is a sacred place, long feared by its people, and should only be approached with caution. It's located within the breathtakingly scenic forests of the Nyanga National Park in the Eastern Highlands in southern Africa. Its perpetually mist-covered peak gives it an imposing and mysterious appearance. Several fatalities have occurred on the mountain when visitors have lost their way and fallen down ravines or cliffs when a mysterious fog appears out of nowhere. Hikers have disappeared without a trace over many decades. The weather is said to have a malevolent mind of its own on the mountain, with gusts of wind striking at the most inopportune times. There are numerous reports of visitors becoming dazed, confused, or disoriented for no apparent reason. Locals say when you come across a strange, colorful snake, a smoldering clay pot with no fire, or a brick of gold, it's best to pretend you have not seen anything and move along. For this reason, visitors to the mountain are encouraged to seek permission from elders living around the area before venturing onto the mountain. Although some state this is an excuse for payments to be made for so-called spirit protection to dubious individuals who claim they have supernatural powers. A senior government official in the early 1980s said he once got lost for nearly 4 days on the mountain when he was a young man. But when he was eventually found, it was as if he had been missing for just a few hours. We've heard this story before in other locations. He said he was not hungry, nor did he show any signs of fatigue or dehydration. Like Mount Shasta or Crater Lake in the United States, Mount Nyangani seems to be a place of mystery that can catch out the unprepared visitor. So what is and where is Mount Nyangani? Mount Nyangani, formerly known as Mount Nyangani, is the highest mountain in Zimbabwe at 8,504 feet at its peak, and it's located within Nyanga National Park. The mountain vegetation is largely composed of heathland around the summit plateau, with evergreen forest along the wetter eastern slopes and grassland to the western side. Annual rainfall totals are high, around 2,200 millimeters, but long spells of dry weather occur during the winter period of May to August. Now, due to its relatively low altitude and tropical location, snow falls very rarely on the mountain, and it was last seen in August of 1935. Remember, below the equator, summer and winter are reversed to what we know here in the United States. For someone of average fitness, it takes about 3 hours to hike the 3.5 miles or 4.5 kilometers from the nearby car park to the summit. Hiking can become extremely hazardous due to very fast weather changes, as we mentioned, from bright and sunny to fog and clouds within minutes. Experienced tour guides advise visitors not to climb the mountain after midday, as afternoon mist can quickly lead hikers in the wrong direction. Elders at local villages say visitors should not wear red clothing when visiting Mount Nyangani, as this is said to greatly upset the spirits. Now, we've heard this before in other locations. People tend to disappear when wearing red. For the same reason, locals also advise hikers that they should refrain from relieving themselves on the mountain, avoid profanity, and abstain from any sort of sexual activity. Now, there have been some mysterious disappearances and deaths on Mount Nyangani. First, let's look at the daughters of Tichendepi Masaya. The two young daughters of the former Zimbabwean government official Tichendepi Masaya disappeared on Mount Nyangani in 1981. Despite a huge search using ground teams and helicopters, no trace was ever found. Robert Ackhurst. In 1986, an 8-year-old visitor on a school trip called Robert Ackhurst vanished on the mountain. He wandered off from the rest of the group on a school field trip and was never seen again. Robert's teacher was reported to be so upset that he had lost a child under his care that he took his own life the following year. Tanatswa and Tendai Matsawira. Shingirai Matsawira, 35, left home on April 10, 2020, with his 8-year-old twin sons, Tanatswa and Tendai, and his 7-year-old nephew named Anasu. They had gone to Mount Nyangani to recover some lost cattle. The boys had accompanied their father, but lost their way after heavy rain suddenly hit the mountain. In the morning, Shingari made it back to the village, and his wife, Tafadza Chitikwa, informed the other villagers that her sons and their cousin had not returned home. A search party was dispatched to comb the mountainside. The villagers managed to find the group, and the twin boys, as well as Anasu, were all unconscious and suffering from hypothermia. They were ferried to Nyanga District Hospital, but Tanatswa was pronounced dead on admission, while his twin brother died at around 6 a.m. on April 10th. Shingara and Anasu survived the ordeal. Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority, ZimParks, Public Relations Officer Tinashi Farawo said, "We have not been able to physically go to the area and talk to the family to find out what really transpired, but preliminary findings show that the father and his sons went to look for their cattle in the national park, but while they were on the mountain, the weather suddenly changed and they lost their way." It is unfortunate that villagers sometimes drive their cattle into the national park and they wander up the mountain. We always discourage this, not only because it can lead to such incidents where we lose human life, but also because it can spread disease. After the incident on the mountain, Shingira Matsuwara said, "While we were on the mountain, there was a hailstorm, and we tried to go down, but we couldn't see far because it suddenly became misty, and we couldn't see anything, so we waited for the mist to clear so that we could go back home. We could not move until the next morning, but by then the children could not walk due to the cold, so I had to go and look for help, leaving them there since I could not carry them on my own." Zaid Dada. On January 4th, 2014, Zaid Dada, 31, his wife, and another couple tried to climb Mount Nyangani, but when halfway up, the women and the other man gave up while he went on by himself. Zayed was a Zimbabwean of Asian origin. Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority spokesperson Caroline Washawa Moyo said more than 60 people, including rangers and relatives of the missing tourist, were involved in the search. The helicopter that was dispatched to assist in the search was forced to land after high winds. Zaid's friends came from as far as Australia, South Africa, Botswana, and the United Kingdom to assist the park rangers, police, and soldiers in locating him. The local Indian community and a helicopter were hired to assist in the search as well. According to a parks official, Zaid was spotted by other hikers who were on their way down while walking along a stream on the mountain, but then he was never seen again. They tried to talk to him, but he indicated he was all right, and that was the last time anyone saw him. Now, there have also been some near misses on Mount Nyangani. Case of Thomas Gaisford. A second-year human science student named Thomas Gaisford chose to come to Zimbabwe after winning the Wallace Watson Award, which encourages and assists students to undertake expeditions or travels of a challenging nature in a mountainous or remote area. Thomas had decided to climb to the summit of the Mount Nyangani as part of the award's objective to, quote, gain a greater ability and self-confidence in handling physical and mental adversity and a better appreciation of other cultures and ways of life, end quote. He encountered heavy fog on his hike down from the summit around 3 p.m., and then he lost his way down the mountain entirely and set up camp, pitching a tent. Then, at that point, the area was hit with heavy rain, and he tried to sleep while wild animals wandered around his camp. Thomas said, "I'd heard lots of strange stories about the mountain, but I never believed them. I climbed to the summit of the mountain. It was very difficult, but I endured to the top. I was caught in a mist as soon as I reached the top, started getting uncomfortable and scared after heavy rain started falling. The fog engulfed the whole place I was, and surprisingly, it was in the afternoon around 3 p.m. I could not see anything. I was so confused. I lost my way down, so stopped and pitched a tent. I prayed and slept there for 10 hours. Several scary snakes approached me. I never disturbed them. They came in numbers, but I stood still. Various animals frequented the place, and I could see shining red eyes of several other animals staring at me. My character was tested, but I remained steadfast. I woke up the following morning after the fog had cleared. I climbed down, then I proceeded to Leopard Rock on foot." Thomas said before he climbed up the mountain, villagers in surrounding areas in Nyanga had warned him against the idea since Zaid had disappeared after embarking on a similar hike. Concerned villagers had also advised him about other strange and unusual things that took place on the mountain in the past. Thomas said, "I tried to put the past mysteries, at the back of my mind. I never consulted traditional leaders before I embarked on the expedition, but I later realized I should have done that first. I'm happy to be alive. There is more to experience. I've learned a lot about Zimbabwe and about myself." Well, there you have it, folks. What do you think about this mysterious mountain that the locals say swallows people? I look forward to reading your comments. We do ask that you remain courteous, especially to the opinions of others. Thanks for listening, and in the meantime, be good to yourselves and each other. Until we meet again, I'm Steve Stockton, and I'll talk to you next time.